Good morning, everybody. So today is a video about a day back in November 12th, 2005. So it's been 16 years and I'm just making a video. I hope you guys enjoy it. The reasoning or principle behind this one is I hope that people think before they go out hunting or out in the woods doing camping, hiking, anything. It doesn't have to be about hunting as well, but it's about a day like 9/11. It was the longest day of my life and my brother's life, his wife's, my ex-wife's, his kids, and the rest of our family. As you can see, I'm kind of pacing, so bear with me. This is going to be a very hard video for me to make, but I want to do it. And it's going to stem, you may have seen this post on my Facebook over the years and throughout the season, but it's going to be something like this. If this hat could tell a story. Now this hat was worn when my daughter Trinity was born. It was also worn the day my brother fell from a tree while hunting. It's a day that I'll never forget. So let's kind of get started here a little bit, and I'll kind of give you the rundown of the morning. So right now it's, hopefully you can read that, it's 8:10 on that day back on November 12th, 2005. I was woken up at about 10 to 6 from a gunshot, which at the time I didn't think much about it until I heard the second gunshot. What that gunshot was my brother messaging for help. Now back in the day, our grandfather taught us to shoot 2 quick ones and then shoot single shots 5 to 10 minutes apart. So that way the people that you're trying to get a hold of has a way to track you and find you if you're hurting, lost, whatever the case may be. So on that morning, I heard those shots. My stepdad came in and asked me if I heard the shots, and at that time my cousin Ryan and my Uncle Larry were here as well. And I said yes, I did. So what I did is I took my gun out and looked through the scope and see if I could see a deer or not. And I went out and I put the scope up and I thought, yeah, maybe. And I came back in, I played it off as in everything's okay. Sorry about Ots in the background. I got them kind of kenneled up versus running around here causing chaos. But yeah, so my brother left at about 4:30 in the morning. There's a special spot that he used to go out and hunt every year out in the middle of the swamp. So it was a long hike. He drove his vehicle so far, and I'll show you that throughout this video on the different steps that I took that day to find my brother laying in the swamp, and I'm going to try and take you out to that spot today. And as we go, I will tell you the story on the worst day of my life. Okay, as you can see, I'm all dressed up in my orange. Here in the state of Minnesota, we got to have at least 50% orange on during deer season. So we're gonna get ready. I just let the boys out, go to the bathroom, so they'll be good till I get back. Ooh, sorry about the hiccups now. But I'm all geared up, and we'll start the show. Okay, on that day, there was no snow. It was a warmer day. Lake kind of looked like this. And what I decided to do once I heard them gunshots, I talked my stepdad, my uncle, my cousin to go across the lake to their deer stands on that side of the lake. And I was just going to walk down the road here. Sorry about the crunchiness. We got a bunch of snow. So what I did is I took this walk. And I almost fell on my butt. As I went down the road here, I was playing through my head where this island is that he was out on. So you gotta remember, I was only out there a couple times and I was way young. My brother led me out there. We used to make deer drives, try pushing deer through this big ugly swamp. Trying to stay out of the water here. Don't want my feet wet already. So as I keep shooting or keep walking, and my brothers continue to shoot, as I walk here, I keep thinking, what in the hell happened? Is he lost? Did he get hurt? I know he had one bad knee from high school. His kneecap pop out type of thing. Did he fall? This just ain't normal. So boy, it's just about as quiet that day as it is right now. Other than for them gunshots. So first gunshot I heard was at 10 after 6. So by the time I got dressed and got going, it was probably 6:45-ish in the morning. Hope this camera holds up with this cold. It's a lot colder today than it was that day. I'll be checking in with you again. Give you part of the story, a little more of the stories we got up here as I walked along. And I keep hearing these gunshots. And I'll tell you when they stop. And what I did throughout that day. Okay guys, so get right up here at this corner, and this is where my truck, or my brother's truck, was parked. This is where my brother's truck was parked. This truck was actually sitting right here, actually. Driver's door was right here. So this truck will mean a lot here later in the video, because without that truck and what was inside that truck, who knows how fast the responders would have been able to get here, because we would have had to go a long ways to get help. The cells back then weren't like they are now. They're flip phones. Service was horrible. Service is still bad here. So at this point, I had a Garmin GPS. In no way are they sponsoring this video or anything, but I marked this truck right here. And then I left the GPS on to track me on my way to find my brother. Got a couple of doing fun running around here. Going to be something if I actually shot a deer on this. I'm looking for a buck. I don't need no does. So anyway, now this is all dirt, not snow. So I was looking for his footprints in the snow and trying to track them. And we got some obstacles to go around here with all these heavy snow branches. Hopefully it warms up and these trees spring back up. So, to remind you now, I am absolutely going blind. I have no more gunshots to go by at this point. Whew. And we're gonna get full of snow today and be wet by the time we're done. %. They were both at 100% when I started today. So I already went through one battery. But I got my GPS out, as you can see. And now you can tell, I don't know if you guys can see it through the trees, but we got some popples in here. So we're almost to the island. But I'm going to take a second and tell you, as I was walking through this mess, which, if you see all these trees, I mean, in the swamp, this is kind of how it was. Maybe a little thicker now, but it was pretty thick. And I remember coming down through this way along this island, right? I hit some like cattails. And this is where I heard here. And that's when my blood pressure went through the roof. I said, Deej, that you? All I heard was here. And that's about all the louder it was. So I came out really close to him. And let me tell you, at that point, my heart raced. It went from being pretty calm to extreme. Okay. All right, guys, I'm just about to the spot here. It's definitely not easy getting out here. See that popple right there. That's going to be the spot. Let me shut off my GPS here. What the hell? So I can try and move some stuff here. And here we are. So I gotta make this kind of quick because I don't know what this battery's gonna do with these cooler temps. Excuse me. So with the snow and everything, it's covering up a lot of stuff. So I'm looking around here. Things have grown up. But he was crying up that tree. And he wanted to get up to somewhere about them branches up there. And that's where he was. I actually think I'm on the wrong side of the tree, to tell you the truth. That's okay. As you can see, this stuff's way thicker. No, I'm on the right side. So he was climbing up the tree, and a tree climber. He gets up to the spot where he wants to be, and he went to take his top of the stand that you sit in and put it at the height he wanted to. And that's when the deer stand came apart. And down in here is where he laid. So now imagine about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, here up in this tree, or crawling up this tree after taking a mile walk or so, maybe last half mile. I really couldn't tell you exactly how far it is from where his truck was to here, but it's a long ways. And you're getting up there, and all of a sudden your stand that's loose, and you're falling backwards to come down on the forest floor here. The way he made a sound is that he bounced, and he's as tall as me, is 6'2", and his head was actually facing towards the stand. The top part of the stand was still around him when he fell, which is what did most of the damage. But the good part is that had the parachute cord, which then in return his gun was laying up at the bottom of that stand. So he pulled his gun to himself, loaded it, and started shooting. So now I'm coming from this direction, and I hear him yell that, "Here, here." He said he knew it wasn't an animal making that kind of ruckus coming through the woods. He knew it was a human. So I come blazing up over after I'm on my way, bro. Keep fighting. Hold on, I'm coming. And screaming at the top of my lungs to find my brother laying on this forest floor right here. He says, "I'm screwed. It feels like an elephant sitting on my chest, and I can't feel my legs." At this point, I kneel down alongside him as his head's facing that way, and I start feeling around him to see if he got impaled by any of these sticks. And now there's hundreds of sticks here. And I went and picked up his leg,
Put it back down as I tried weaseling the deer stand out from underneath him. He asked me, "Did you just move my legs?" And that's when I said yes. Yeah, I did. Now the term of lifted up a sack of potatoes, something being heavy on the ground, that's exactly what his legs felt like that day. Yeah, I can pop this off a little bit here and turn you around. I don't know. Oh man, I'm all twisted and tied up here. So as my brother was telling me kind of what happened and everything, he said he was cold. He was white as this snow, folks. He's that white. Being a first responder and him being one, we could see what's happening on the outside. When he said it felt like an elephant sitting on his chest, and as white as he was, I didn't think he was gonna make it. Now I got about a half hour, 45-minute run out, wait for help, and then to get another half hour, 45 minutes back out here. So what I did is I took off my pack, got more gloves, stocking cap, put it on him, made him a little bit of a pillow, but we couldn't do too much because now all of a sudden he said his neck hurt as well. Oh man, close your eyes and imagine, folks. Your heart racing. Feel like it's gonna rip right out of your chest. It's beating so hard. Ready to explode. That's kind of what I went through that day. So what I did then is I stood up and he told me, "You gotta get help." I says, "I know." And at that point I unloaded my gun into a tree back over here, and he says, "Is anybody listening?" I said, "Yes." I told cousin Ryan, "If you hear me unload my gun, come and running." Now he's 2 miles away or so over in his stand. I checked my brother over again. Asked him which way's the fast way out of here. He told me to stick my arm out. And at that time I was pointing this way. And then he told me to run. I bent down and kissed him on the forehead. Told him to keep fighting. And I'll be back. Just keep fighting. Now this is where the tunnel vision set in. And I took off running. Through the swamp. As fast as I could. Didn't matter if there's water holes, trees, whatever. I blasted right straight through. So I run all the way out. And I hit my cousin's lake. At first I was confused where I was because of the tunnel vision. Way out of breath. I bent over, gasping for air. Looked up and down that lake to figure out where I was. Then I noticed exactly where I was and which way I had to go. And from there, I had to run back to his truck. And in his truck was the fire department radio. Thank God he had that radio. Thank God. I get on the radio. And I say Marble Portable because that was the town the fire department he was on and where he lived at the time. Portable to sheriff's office. Marble portable to sheriff's office. And I hear in return, marble portable, go ahead. You have no idea how good that sound was. That voice, knowing that you got through to help. I proceed to tell him that I need an ambulance, ALS, life flight, chopper with the drop basket if the capabilities, and fire department. I try to proceed to tell him who it was that fell and who we were. And all of a sudden another deputy's voice comes on that doesn't live too far away from us. He said, "The Finky boys?" He said, "Yes, sir." He says, "Dispatch, I know right where they're at. Ping my truck." So the deputy comes. My cousin comes across the lake. He's hauling tail in the truck. I tell him to get down and open up the gate. Help's coming. My brother's, well, the F word. Hurry up. I don't know how long he's got. So pretty soon, here comes my cousins down the road. They hear the gunshots from their cabin, another set of cousins, and their buddy that hunted with them and his son. Pretty soon, which really did, it was, 15, 20 minutes, but it didn't seem like it took that long for him to get here. I forgot to mention, once I got out to my brother's truck, I shot again. And that was so my brother knew that I made it. So if he was alive, he knew I made it and keep fighting because we're coming. So the fire department comes up. Also fire department gets here. Sheriff is here. I tracked my GPS marking on the way out. We start following my tracks back. My batteries go dead. Starting to go dead on my GPS. Where did I leave the extra batteries? Right here on this forest floor with my brother. Because that way he could reach extra clothes. I think I might have had some snacks in there as well. So anyway, we get out here. We're running through the swamp and I'm turning my GPS on. And the young fella that hunted with my cousins was ahead of us, acting like a lab. I tell him straight, left, right, through this woods. Sorry if the camera's shaking, guys. I'm trying to hold it. And once he got close, I told him to start yelling for him. And he started yelling, and all of a sudden he said he found my brother. And I screamed, "Is he alive?" And he said yes. Now, how my brother made it that long. From 5:30 in the morning at this point, it was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. I could be off on my times because it was a long time ago and everything was such a blur. I never did really know the time of everything that happened. All I know is by noon, he was down at St. Mary's Hospital. So we get out here and fire department's got a backboard of their medical bags. They check them over. At the one point, the actual sheriff at that time went to my sister-in-law's house. The deputy stopped at my house because at that time they didn't know which brother it was that fell. After I gave the deputy my driver's license number, They knew which one it was. My brother's wife was pregnant at the time with their daughter. My daughter was going to be 1 next weekend. The stuff that they went through, I couldn't even tell you the stuff that went through their head that day. Maybe someday we'll do a video on that, but I doubt it. We'll see. So we check over my brother, and we're laying here. My brother said, listen, pretty soon we hear a helicopter in the sky. Now this is life flight. Deputy gets on the radio and tells them that they're flying too far. Turn around and go back to the highway and land there. There'll be deputies out there waiting. So that's what they did. At that time, we started packing up my brother onto the backboard. Now there was 11 to 14 of us. I don't remember the exact number. We got my brother on the backboard, and we started the process. Carry him out pretty much the way I just came in today. Trying to get out to that opening where the helicopter pad was. Or what we call the helicopter pad anyway. We're carrying him through here. They thought maybe having his head to the back end because it was thick like this. So 2 of us would run ahead and jump on these sticks and push him that way and that way. And the fire department would come forward as far as they could. We'd get up and we'd jump again. All the way out to where they had a 4-wheeler and a trailer that was designed for carrying backboards. How he made it that far, that long, and was still alive, I'll never know. I seen that man cry twice. One tear came out of his eyes down here ways where we're going uphill, and the blood was rushing towards his head into the injuries. He said, stop, stop, stop. So that at that point we put his head first and feet down. So now we get back to the hospital. Let me go back a little bit. This is what happens. The brain goes faster than the mouth, and vice versa at times when I tell this story. So they get my brother out to the waiting ambulance and the paramedics, and they take him out 6 miles out to the tar to where they get him onto into the waiting helicopter or waiting ambulance there. The helicopter wasn't there yet. They had to go all the way back to Rapids and get fuel because they came hot and heavy and light. They thought it was going to be a turn and burn, and obviously it took us a lot longer to get him in and out of the woods. So I get back to his truck, meet my uncle Larry. We're hugging, we're crying. I get to the truck and I'm mentally spent, emotionally spent. I collapsed out on my knees to try and breathe. Try and process a few seconds, because now we gotta go, because this ain't over yet. But somehow we got him out of the woods alive, and he fought and fought to stay alive. I asked him how he did it. He said it was like flipping a channel on TV. He said he'd think about where I was at. He'd think about his boy, his wife, his unborn child. And he kept flipping the channel so he didn't think it was going to come to an end. And he said he heard them sirens. He said, boy, I sure did help. I knew you were coming. All I had to do was hold on until you guys got here. And he did. So anyway, stepdad and I get out to where the ambulance was. I open up the ambulance door. And they have him sitting on his side because he's a little more comfortable that way. And he said, "Thank you." I said, "For what?" He says, "For paying attention." And I said, "No, thank you for fighting. And keep fighting. And I'll see you at the hospital." The ambulance crew gave me his ice king boots because he was so tall they didn't know with the boots on if he'd actually fit inside the helicopter. So as my stepdad and I blast down towards my house, so at that time my wife and stepkids and my little Trinity, they met me at the door. We hugged. I said, "I gotta go." He said, "I want to go too." I said, "You drive separate because I don't know when I'm gonna be coming home. And I don't want to wait. I need to go right now." At that time, some childhood friends of ours stopped at my place. They asked me what we could do. I told them to come up and shut up the cabin, drain the waters as we took off down to St. Mary's. So my brother has surgeries, many hours of surgeries. One primary one to stabilize him. He comes out of surgeries, and they let my sister-in-law go in and see him. My mom wanted. They only wanted a couple of people at a time. Now he's in ICU. The fight's not over yet. He's not out of the woods yet. Come to find out, he broke his scapula, he broke his neck, he broke his back at nipple level, and he collapsed the lung. Well, that explains why I felt like an elephant. Kicked him in the chest. Oh, God. Days later, well, let's not even go days later, but then I believe it was the next day when I actually went in and seen him. Again, he said, "Thank you." And this is why I see this next tear come out of his eye. And this is what he told me that at this, he said, "Thank you again." He says, "I'm never going to be able to teach my boy how to skate. I'm not going to be able to take my boy out in the woods, teach him the things that our grandfather taught us. But he says, I'm alive. At least I'll be able to be here and watch him grow up." Now as this goes on, weeks, it goes on. He battles pneumonia, which almost killed him. Made phone calls from nurses had me come down because he was fighting the breathing tube that they had to put in because of the pneumonia. They had to restrain him. He was fighting and breaking straps, and so I go down and see my brother with that tube laying in that bed fighting. I said, "Deej, it's me." And you can see him relax. And I tell him, "Stop fighting. That tube has to stay in. That's what's keeping you alive because you have pneumonia." And he'd relax. I said, "Now, I told you out in that woods to fight. Now stop fighting so hard. Don't fight these people. You'll get through this. You're in a good place." Weeks later, he gets to come home for Christmas. Never thought I'd see that day. He goes back down for a couple more weeks of rehab to reteach himself how to transfer himself from the wheelchair to beds, cook, clean, all over again to get him mentally ready to come home for good. Oh, folks, this little incident affected many lives. Obviously affected mine, his wife's, kids, but it also affected the fire department, the deputies, the doctors, friends, family, and everybody along the way. So please, when you go out into the woods, be safe. Strap up to this tree. My brother did have a harness on him that day. And he's just getting, once he was sitting in that chair, he was going to strap up. But he was 5 seconds too late. And his life's changed forever. Yes, he still hunts, he still fishes, he still shoots, he still does everything. But I skate and walk. We get him out hunting, he gets out hunting, he gets out fishing. So his life didn't end. It just changed, and we all changed. We changed the way we hunt, the way we had to do things, the way we think when we go into the woods. And how we go about accomplishing the goals. It's so hard. But how has this impacted me? I'll be to tell you. This last year, I finally went in to see a psychiatrist. Not a day that don't go by that I don't think about this day. 16 years later, it's not a day that doesn't go by that at some point throughout that day, this spot, this day, doesn't come to mind. So they diagnosed me with PTSD. They try to help me on how to deal with it. And talk about it helps because I share his story not as a sympathy, not a poor me or a poor him. But we don't want anybody else to have to go through this, what we've gone through. Back then I was 27, he was 32. Now I'm 43. And he's 48. I believe my math is right there. We just don't want anybody to go through this, so please. And we don't want anybody laying on this forest floor alone. Let people know where you're at. Get a GPS. Don't rely on the cell phone because those don't always work. Give people approximate time when you're going to come to and from your hunt location. Carry some orange ribbon in your bag, or pink or red or lime green, and mark your trail if you're going someplace new. Yeah, it helps out for people if the what if ever happens. Okay? I live the life now with this PTSD of what if. What if I didn't dick around? I would have drove the truck down here. I got to him faster. Would that change the outcome? What if I was out there with him? Would it happen? What if when I lift up his legs I caused more damage than good? Did I hurt him? I don't know. But just think and close your eyes, folks, and picture this story that I just told to you happening to one of your family members or yourself. We're not saying not go out and enjoy life, because damn it, we are. We still go and do our thing. But years later, it still affects people. Affects him, affects me. And I really would have thought over time it would have got easier, but it doesn't. It doesn't get any easier. I'm going to cut this video now out here in this spot because I don't know how much batteries got left. I was going to go show all the way back. I don't think I got enough juice for that. So folks, that's the story of the worst day in my life. I hope what I shared with you will open your eyes up, make you think about what you do when you go out in the woods, when to tell people, be safe, be as safe as you can. Don't take that little risk. That might get you in trouble, get you hurt. Thanks for watching, guys. I know this is going to be a long one. I don't know if it's going to be a two-part series or not. But just think, guys. Life is still going on. We just do things differently now. Go and enjoy the great outdoors. And I hope to God that you guys never have to experience what we had experienced that day. I want to say thank you to the fire departments, the past sheriff and sheriffs, dispatchers, paramedics, life flight doctors, friends and family that have supported us through this, and to those that continue to support us even all these years after. If you have any questions, go ahead and go down in the comments. I'll see if I can answer any for you. Feel free to share this with your friends. It might save a life. You just never know. That's the goal of this video, is trying to save a life. Keep somebody from getting hurt. And if you like this video, please give us the big old thumbs up. Have a great day, guys. Be safe out there. We'll be thinking of each and every one of you during this hunting season. Keep making memories, and we hope they're good memories and not tragic memories like this one right here.